what it's called, mid-tone. I knew it would come to me. All right, so mid-tone. So most of the object will either be mid-tone or reflected light. Now on one side, the side with the light, will have mid-tone. Opposite the light will be reflected light, and reflected light is darker than mid-tone, but lighter than core shadow. So if I was to order these in order of how dark to light they are, highlight is number 1, then mid-tone, then reflected light, usually core shadow, and then cast shadow. Okay, so this is my plan. Do I want to put all this on my watercolor paper though? No. The answer is no. We want to just transfer the critical information. I like this little secondary highlight over here. So I'm going to save this as mid-tone and surround it with reflected light. Save this as a highlight. This is mid-tone, but mid-tone goes to the edge because what that's going to do is separate my apple from my plate. So I want to have at least mid-tone over here. So it's just amazing to me how it always happens. If you look around, the edges are always defined by value. If you look around the world. Outside, inside, you always find edges by looking at how the value changes, where they connect. So that's really one of the beauties and most intriguing and magical things about creating and reproducing what you see out there. Okay, so there is my basic blueprint for what we're going to do with our painting. So now how do I get this to my watercolor paper? What I like to do, and this is probably not what everybody does, but I like to put it on a piece of tracing paper with a Sharpie marker. So I'm going to take my tracing paper here, and the first thing I want to do is tape it down so it doesn't shift on me in the middle of this transfer.
So River asked on one of our questions here, what kind of a pencil were you using for that particular sketch? It was a mechanical?
Yeah, I have a mechanical pencil, the kind that has the claw, a little bit thicker lead, and I believe my lead is actually HB. I wish it was a little softer, and I can't really tell. It does say on there, but I have old eyes and can't read that little, what this is. But you can buy packs of this lead in 2B and 3B and 4B and make it really dark. I recommend 2B or darker or softer, so in the B range, 2B or softer in order to be able to get to it. And what I like about these is you can work on the tip, but you can also work on the side. Working on the side is actually a little more effective with these graphite pencils. So if I want to cover a big area of dark, I can really cover ground quickly with these graphite pencils. This is a great question. What was her name again?
That was from River.
River, thanks for that question, but that's a great question. So this is my 3B dark, totally graphite pencil. So I have this whole bit of graphite that I can work with, and I can cover ground a lot more quickly. So I want to make sure I have a distinct separation between my reflected light and my, I could go all day shading. It's very soothing and therapeutic to draw and shade.
Nice.
Okay.
And Diane wanted to thank you for the magic eraser tip. She tried it and it works like magic. And guest 795 said, Colleen is an excellent watercolor painting instructor. I'm really enjoying this class, so that's nice to hear.
You.
And then guest 941, the tip about opening new tubes of paint slowly sounds great if it truly prevents the fountain of paint that gushes into it or from a new tube. So sounds like some people are getting some really neat tips from you here today.
Yeah, that paint tube tip, I will say it works 90% of the time. But there's always going to be that odd instance. The main thing is don't squeeze the tube when you're opening the cap, and then give it that little bit of opportunity to breathe before you take the tube all the way off. And always do it over something besides your best blouse, no matter what happens.
All
Be
right.
prepared.
Okay.
Okay, so now we're going to transfer the important marks. See, I can write and give myself notes and everything in my sketchbook, but I don't have to transfer any of that up to my watercolor painting. So now what I like to do is actually use my ruler at this stage. And I want to get transferred to my Sharpie marker because this is going to help me see the marks. I probably brought one that doesn't work. Watch this. So I'm using my tracing paper now. And the first step is always create your format. People, invariably, if I forget this step, I'm so disappointed because I have something really cool right there that I have to now cut off with tape or rip off because I didn't think about the tape line or the rip line. In my case, if you see some paintings back here where I do this ripped edge, it requires me to lose about 1/4 inch of the painting. I don't know if you can see that. So it's a beautiful effect for presentation. And if I don't think about this format coming in, I'm always disappointed that I have to lose a little bit of my painting.